as we had earlier put on, clearly it came out that it is clear that the government actually touched, and the president himself touched on the finance bill 2025. And he took credit saying that within the finance bill they have given quite a number of provisions that will cater to the Kenyan worker, for starters, and secondly it will cater to the other party, talking about not only the workers but also the businessmen. So talking about the workers, he's spoken about targeted reliefs that we've seen. Also, we've seen the issue about pensions and gratuity, on matters tax exemption in the country. And it is quite interesting that we're seeing quite a number of dynamic issues ongoing there. We also have tax relief for small businesses, as the president highlighted right there, touching on Finance Bill 2025. He also touched on the issue of 6% contribution, that is the national saving culture, which has really improved heavily in that regard. And at this particular moment, definitely, we have quite a number of people who are here. I know we have Grace with us in studio, and a lot of people are moving actually. As you can see, this is the labor movement, so the movement is there, and quite a lot of it. And just one of the other issues that has come out strongly is the issue of the ILO Convention ratification of 189 touching on domestic workers and 190 on elimination of harassment of workers, which is very, very important. So quite a packed address right there, but no minimum wage, unfortunately. And it's quite unfortunate that that has not been announced yet. I'm supposed to be going back to you, Grace, in studio. Talk to me about what you've picked, and our analyst in studio. Back to you.
Right. Thank you so much, Noah, for just breaking down that speech by President William Ruto. Back here in studio with my panelists. Perhaps Ken and Kelvin, what do you make of the president's speech this Labor Day? I'll start with you, Ken.
Many thanks, Grace. There's a focus on savings, and one popular phrase we like to use is savings is a private virtue but a public vice. And what do I mean by that? Yes, there's a 6% deduction, and he said we've collected billion shillings. Deduction on their pay slips, which means when they go to the marketplace, they're only able to afford less. Somebody earning 50,000 shillings takes home 39,000 shillings, and that's down by 500 shillings, which means they can afford only less things. Mm-hmm. You make a weak economy, you make the aggregate demand of a country very weak because people are not able to afford goods and services. So yes, somebody can chest thump and say the savings rate of the country has gone up, but at the same time you've greatly weakened the purchasing power of your citizens. And that's why the economy is so weak as we speak.
Kevin, the president, roughly, if I can sum up, he said in 60 years, we managed to save 380 billion shillings. And what we've saved since he got into power, that is 2 years, it is 280 billion. We are a bit short from what we've saved for 60 billion shillings. Someone may wonder, that is a total of around 600 billion that we have in the account. Where does this money go to, or how does it benefit Kenyans? Perhaps you can break down for us.
Grace Ken is the economist on this panel. but anyway, I think that my suspicions are that the president probably is talking about the pension funds and the contributions that Kenyans are making, particularly from the data or the numbers that we spoke about earlier on. The formal employees, the formal employment sector, if probably I'm right. And so focusing on the question around really, therefore, what is this money doing and where is it? And if you were to focus on that, then in my view, Kenya is a very rich country, because if you look at 600 billion against the clamor for money for counties every year, governors have to, rant over delay of disbursement. Sometimes the monies are also not enough. It therefore means that if we had a plan to recoup back these savings into service delivery, infrastructure or development, we probably might not need to go around begging, quote unquote, for loans. And the president has also said, I didn't go to China to beg for money. We had a conversation. So with these savings, it is clear that we have a very rich country, and that the interest of the Kenyan workers is to partner with government to be able to be part and parcel of this development. But of course, there is the other lying, low-lying challenge, which is the ability to touch this money. So we cannot touch it. So even as they talk about the savings and all that, as we said earlier on before the conversations began, the president's handlers and those good brains again within government will have to come out and help Kenyans to understand where this money is and how we can be able to touch it. Deal with issues of health, healthcare provision, proper roads across the country, and education, because analysis shows that we probably need about just a paltry 380 billion to provide Kenyans with free primary and secondary education. And if you look at this, the kind of figures we are talking about, it means that if we had a good plan as a country, then education should actually be free for Kenyans.
Ken, 300 billion. Kenya Kwanza government came into office 2 years ago. Say they came in empty coffers. Now the president tells us we had 300 billion in savings. He's added more. We have 600 billion, but we're still crying that things are not good. Where does that even leave Kenyans from that remarks by the president?
It leaves Kenyans confused, and it's true that the savings for the country have increased. But let's ask ourselves, where have these savings gone? And as Kevin said, it goes to the pension funds. So let's take a simple pension fund like NSSF, the largest social security provider. But then the pension industry holds about 1 trillion, almost 1 trillion in terms of Kenyan savings. But most pension funds will tell you that most of the investments is in government bonds and in real estate. So take NSSF, for example. NSSF has invested in Nyayo Estate, which is a very good estate. It has invested in Hazina Towers, Hazina Estate. It has government bonds. But now think of somebody who lives in Mandera or somebody who lives in Lamu. Like, okay, those are very nice projects, but they are in Nairobi. I'm not living in Nyayo Estate. I've never been to Hazina Towers, but yet you're deducting every month from my paycheck. So you find the pension funds, of course, they're looking for areas where they'll get the maximum return, but the money is coming from all over the country. It's coming from people in Turkana, it's coming from people in Lamu, people who maybe their whole lifetimes will never come to Nairobi. So we need to think of how can this pension fund money get into infrastructure. So if I'm paying pensions in Isiolo, it's coming back to build roads for me in Isiolo. Only then will that statement make a sense. But the reality today, many pension funds are investing in offshore. They're investing in stocks abroad in the stock market in the US. They're investing. So a lot of people say, yes, our savings have gone up, but they're not really speaking to us. They're not giving us better health care. I would love to see a pension fund investing in a hospital. I'd love to see a pension fund investing in a university. You don't see that. It's all real estate. And some of these real estate projects are stranded. If you think of the NSSF properties around State House, they have been dormant for almost 10, 15 years. Nobody lives and subject to a lot of corruption. So it's important we go back to aggregate demand. I would have loved for the president to say, I want to increase the purchasing power of Kenyans so that Kenyans can afford for themselves what they want to do. And we've not heard that. If anything, we're hearing more and more deductions really affecting the paycheck. And really this assault on the pay slip in the fullness of time is what is killing our economy.
All right. Perhaps, and if we're just a parting shot from both of you, I'll start with you, Kevin. What is your take home? What were the hits and the misses? Mine was affordable housing. We must embrace affordable housing. That was my take home, and that the economy is growing.
To be honest with you, Grace, I think this was a missed opportunity for the Kenyan workers. We saw the government priding itself in things which are perennially stories from the president and a few of those speakers who spoke. I'm excited about, and so therefore, what that means is that the president spent too much time explaining to Kenyans things which his government has done. This is a very clear, specific day with a clear-cut agenda. It's a Labor Day, so you're engaging workers and you're engaging, employers by extension. So what's in it for these people? Move forward into looking at the Finance Bill 2025. What does that mean, especially as we head towards public participation and the organizing for workers? Of course, the other issue is affordable housing, as you rightfully said. And I suspect, Grace, that the president knows something which we do not know. The overemphasis of affordable housing in his speech, I think, is suspect in my view, and so something needs to be done. I'm happy that Mheshimiwa Daktari Francis Atwoli is coming to realities, and he's again talked about his exit, and that really is a call now for young workers, the uprising, Gen Zs who now want to get organized, those in the gig economy and also in the digital creative economy, to now begin to see how they organize themselves and also be part and parcel of trade unions and expand the platforms for engagement. Lastly, I'm excited about the ILO conventions. Unfortunately, the president said the people who need to work on it know what to do. He should have come out as a president, and because this has been a call perennially for many years, and just say this is what the position of Kenya is, we are ratifying or not ratifying, and put people on the spot, say CS or PS or whoever, make sure this thing happens by this specific time. Otherwise, it was a good opportunity, and I hope that Kenyan workers are feeling much more self-reliant now.
For sure, Ken.
I'm worried that inflation is eroding the purchasing power of Kenyans. The latest numbers came out yesterday. It was at about 4.1%. And if you compound it with last year's inflation, it takes you to almost 10%. So you're going almost 2-3 years where inflation is eating into your pay slip, but you're not getting the commensurate pay increase. I would have expected, number one, a pay increase to be announced for this year. And last year, for the elements that didn't enforce it, that amount is addressed. So for me, we are facing 2 years of inflation eroding and putting Kenyans in a many Kenyans actually living on a wing and a prayer today. Yeah.
All right. Kevin, you had mentioned that if it were you could have awarded me.
Oh yeah, precisely. By the way, one paradoxical thing, Grace, is that every year we see the president awarding people, HSC, EBS, Golden Award. But this is a day for workers. If I was a president of the Republic today, many weeks prior to this event, I would have asked the trade unions to submit a few names. Then we award them, we acknowledge, we appreciate, and all that. And by the way, the governor of Nairobi City County, with the place of Nairobi County, again, I was surprised that at least we should have seen and Nairobi as a contributor to GDP. So, Mheshimiwa Sakaja, Labor Day, and happy Labor Day, wherever you are.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'm happy to know that you could have rewarded me. You're not saying that. You could have rewarded me. Say it.
I have a gift for you after this show.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming to celebrate Labor Day with us here on KTN. Please don't go too far. My name is Grace Nganga. Up next, I'll be bringing you the latest, the news desk. Don't go too far.